She served tea with a smile. The guests drank politely, never realizing that each sip was their last. Within minutes, they would begin to cough, shake, and collapse. Their hostess would watch quietly, waiting for the silence that followed. Her name was Lê Thanh Vân, but in Vietnam, people remember her by another name, the Cyanide Witch. Between 1998 and 2001, this woman poisoned at least 13 people across southern Vietnam. Her weapon was invisible, tasteless, and almost impossible to trace. She killed not for revenge, not for love, but for money. A polite smile, a cup of coffee, and death followed soon after. She became one of the most feared and studied killers in Vietnamese criminal history. Lê Thanh Vân was born in 1966 in Tay An Giang province. She came from an ordinary family, but she dreamed of luxury, gold, perfumes, expensive clothes. She married young, worked small jobs, and quickly grew tired of her modest life. Greed became her obsession. When debts mounted and her husband lost work, she looked for easier ways to make money. And that's when she discovered cyanide. She first learned about it from a friend who worked in goldsmithing. Cyanide was used to clean and melt gold, easy to buy, easy to hide. She realized it could also take a life quietly. No knife, no blood, just a drink, a smile, and silence. Her first known murder happened in late 1998. She invited a local acquaintance for coffee, offered to help with a small loan, and slipped a few drops of cyanide into his cup. Minutes later, the man collapsed. Vaughn calmly took his wallet, his watch, and left before anyone questioned her. There were no obvious signs of foul play. The death was written off as food poisoning. It worked. And once she realized how simple it was, she didn't stop. Over the next 3 years, she poisoned friends, business partners, even strangers. Each killing was motivated by greed, money, jewelry, or debt forgiveness. She pretended to help people in need, promising loans or investment deals only to kill them for their savings. In every case, she used the same method: cyanide mixed into coffee, tea, or soft drinks. By the time the victim felt dizzy, it was already too late. In Vietnam, cyanide acts quickly. Within minutes, it stops the body from using oxygen, starving the brain and heart. Victims gasp for air, their faces turning blue. Then they lose consciousness, and death follows in less than 10 minutes. The poison leaves little trace if the victim is cremated, and in rural areas, cremation was common. Lê Thanh Vân exploited that fact with chilling precision. Her murders spanned several provinces: Tay An Giang, Ben Tre, and Ho Chi Minh City. She moved constantly, using fake names and new stories. To one group, she was a businesswoman. To another, a friendly lender. She always dressed elegantly, carried herself with confidence, and spoke softly. Nobody suspected the woman with perfect manners and expensive perfume. Police would later describe her as a master of disguise and charm. She could enter a family home, share a meal, and kill everyone at the table without hesitation. In one of her most shocking crimes, she poisoned an entire family of 3 after pretending to arrange a business loan. She served them coffee and pastries, then watched as all 3 collapsed. She took their gold jewelry and cash before leaving the house unlocked. Hours later, neighbors found the bodies. At first, doctors blamed contaminated food. There was no sign of struggle, and Lê Thanh Vân had already disappeared. For nearly 3 years, she moved from province to province, leaving a trail of mysterious deaths behind her. But Vietnam was changing. Forensic science was improving, and investigators began to notice a pattern. Many victims had recently met a woman offering loans or partnerships. In each case, She served them drinks before they died. Police compared witness statements and finally connected the dots. One elegant woman, always the same description. The hunt for the Cyanide Witch had begun. In October 2001, police received a tip that a woman fitting her description had checked into a small guest house in Ho Chi Minh City. They surrounded the building quietly and found her inside with a small brown bag. Inside that bag were several vials of clear liquid, a gold necklace, and identification cards belonging to people who were already dead. Tests confirmed it. The liquid was potassium cyanide. Lê Thanh Vân was finally under arrest. She didn't resist. She smiled at officers and said, "You found me sooner than I expected." Even in custody, she remained calm, almost proud. During interrogation, she confessed to 13 murders. She described each poisoning in disturbing detail, where it happened, what the victims drank, and how long it took for them to die. She even explained how she calculated the dosage. Her voice never trembled. When asked if she felt regret, she said, "They were greedy too. I just outsmarted them." The media exploded. Vietnam had never seen a female serial killer of this scale. People were horrified that someone could kill so quietly, so deliberately, without any remorse. Newspapers called her the Cyanide Witch, a name that captured her beauty and her evil. For months, her trial dominated national headlines. At trial, prosecutors laid out evidence: cyanide traces, handwriting samples, and items stolen from her victims. Survivors testified about her charm, how she smiled as she served them drinks. Experts explained how she used just enough poison to ensure no second chances. Every detail painted the same picture: a woman who believed she was smarter than everyone around her. When given the chance to speak, she told the court, "People die every day. I only gave them a faster way." Gasps filled the courtroom. Even her own relatives refused to look at her. On November 3, 2001, the People's Court of Ho Chi Minh City sentenced her to death by lethal injection. She showed no emotion. She bowed her head, not in shame, but in acceptance. As guards led her away, she turned to reporters and said quietly, "At least I will die clean." Her execution was carried out soon after. Vietnamese newspapers reported that she remained calm until the end. When asked if she had any last words, she simply said, "I have nothing more to give." Then she closed her eyes. The poison that had taken so many lives finally ended hers.